Casinos don't need to cheat you. That's the first truth you have to understand. People love to believe that slot machines are rigged or that sportsbooks are fixing games, but the reality is so much simpler. They don't have to cheat you because the economics are already on their side. The games themselves are the cheat. The numbers are built to drain you slowly, predictably, and completely. You don't lose because you're unlucky. You lose because the math demands it. And here's the most sinister part. None of this happened by accident. Casinos didn't stumble onto a system that prints billions of dollars every year. It was designed. Behavioral economics, microeconomics, and human psychology all stitched together into one machine. A machine that looks like flashing lights and free drinks. But underneath is just one endless transfer of wealth from your pocket to theirs. When you gamble, you're not just playing blackjack or slots or placing a parlay. You're stepping into a finely tuned economic ecosystem. And in that ecosystem, you aren't the customer, you're the product. Every bet you make comes with a silent tax. Most people never see it, but it's there. It's called the house edge. In blackjack, if you play perfectly, that edge is around 0.5%. In roulette, it's 5.26%. On slot machines, it can be anywhere from 7% to 15%. On sports bets, the VIG, the juice, is usually 10% on every wager. These numbers might sound small, almost harmless, but that's the trick. Small edges, applied over thousands of bets, become massive drains. Think of it like this. Imagine you're buying groceries. You get to the checkout, and the cashier rings everything up, but then she says, "Oh, one more thing. If you lose a coin flip, I'm adding 5% to your bill." That's the casino model. Every single transaction has a hidden toll. Casinos don't need you to lose everything today. That would actually be bad for business. They need you to stay in the game long enough for that edge to grind you down. One hand, one spin, one bet doesn't matter, but play for long enough, and the house always gets what it's owed. The house edge is like gravity. You can fight it for a while, you can jump high, you can even fly for a bit, but eventually gravity pulls you back down. That's why the slogan is true. The house always wins. Not because of luck, not because of cheating, but because the math makes it inevitable. If you've ever wondered how casinos and sportsbooks make billions, it isn't from one or two high rollers. Sure, they love the whales, the people who lose millions in a single weekend. But the real engine of gambling profit isn't big players, it's volume. Billions of small bets placed over and over again every single day. Casinos don't need you to blow your savings in one night. They just need you to keep placing bets. 1 million hands of blackjack guarantees profit. 1 million spins on a slot machine guarantees profit. 1 million parlays guarantee profit. The outcome of any single game doesn't matter. What matters is the volume. That's why sportsbooks don't actually care who wins the Super Bowl. It doesn't matter if the Chiefs or the Eagles cover the spread. What matters is that millions of people placed bets, and every one of those bets paid the VIG. That 10% juice adds up. And when you multiply it across millions of customers and billions of wagers, you get a money machine. For you, it feels like gambling. For them, it feels like compounding interest. They aren't sweating the outcome. They aren't hoping to get lucky. Their business model guarantees profit. Think about that for a second. You're gambling, they're investing, you're risking, they're compounding, and you're the one paying for their return. Ever notice how casinos and sportsbooks love to give things away? Here's $50 in free bets. Here's 100 free spins. Here's a free room, free drinks, free buffet. It all feels generous, but generosity doesn't exist in gambling. It's marketing. That free bet isn't really free, it's bait. It's designed to get you to deposit real money. And once you do, you'll spend more chasing wins than you ever would have without the promo. Casinos don't comp you a hotel room because they like you. They comp you because they know you'll lose far more than the cost of that room by the time you check out. Nothing is free. The bonus you take is just another hook. It keeps you in the ecosystem longer. It convinces you you're playing with house money. And that's exactly what they want, because when it's house money, you take bigger risks, you play longer, and you lose faster. A free bet isn't a gift, it's a leash. And every time you accept one, they tighten it just a little more. Casinos aren't just built on math, they're built on psychology. They know that humans overvalue rare wins and undervalue steady losses. They know you'll chase your losses harder than you'll celebrate your wins. They know your brain reacts to almost winning the same way it reacts to actually winning. So what do? They engineer games to exploit those flaws. Slot machines are programmed to show near misses more often than random chance would allow. Sportsbooks design parlays so you hit 9 legs out of 10 and obsess over the one that didn't land. Casinos don't hire magicians to design their games, they hire neuroscientists. Every light, every sound, every payout schedule is calculated. Every detail is tested, refined, and optimized for one purpose: to keep you playing. You think you're testing your luck. In reality, they're testing you, and you fail every time you sit down. Now, zoom out. Gambling isn't just a personal problem, it's a global economic force. Casinos and sportsbooks generate hundreds of billions in revenue every year. Governments tax it, states encourage it, entire economies depend on it. When you lose a bet, you're not just funding the casino, you're funding your government. Casinos are sold as tourism, but in reality, they're an economic drain. The money you lose doesn't circulate in your community. It doesn't pay your local businesses. It vanishes into a corporate black hole, shipped off to shareholders and tax collectors. Gambling is marketed as entertainment, but at scale, it's really just wealth transfer from the many to the very few. And that's why it's so heavily promoted. It's not just about casinos making money. It's about governments making money. It's about industries making money. When you gamble, you're not just fighting a slot machine. You're fighting an entire economic system that depends on your losses. Every gambler knows someone who swears they've figured it out. The poker pro who wins tournaments. The card counter who sneaks past casinos. The sharp who beats the sportsbook with models and math. But here's the truth. For every one skilled gambler, there are thousands who get crushed. Casinos ban card counters. They limit sharp bettors. They shift lines instantly when too much money comes in on one side. The system isn't designed to reward skill. It's designed to neutralize it. The myth of the skilled gambler isn't a threat to casinos. It's free advertising. Stories of winners keep the losers pouring money in. For every headline about a guy hitting $1 million parlay, there are 10,000 people who went broke chasing the same dream. Skill doesn't change the math, and the math always favors the house. So what's the end game? It's simple. Keep you playing long enough for the math to work. It doesn't matter what system you try, what superstition you follow, what lucky charm you bring to the table. The edge is small, but it's permanent. And over time, it eats everyone alive. Casinos don't need you to lose today. They need you to keep playing until tomorrow. The longer you play, the closer your results align with their expected profit. They don't rush. They don't panic. They wait. You're not battling luck when you gamble. You're battling math. And math never loses. The only way to beat the economics of gambling is to refuse to play the game at all. Casinos look glamorous. Sportsbooks look exciting. But behind every flashing light and every bet-placed button is the same boring, predictable truth: economics. And economics always wins. You are not unlucky. You are not cursed. You are simply outmatched. The system you're playing was designed to beat you before you ever walked in. If you want more breakdowns like this, subscribe for future videos. And if you're looking for resources to break free from gambling, check the link in the description. Don't wait for economics to decide your fate.